when you draw on the traditions of the people, it connects so deeply with them. You know, like on a recent mission trip to Japan, we were trying to sing some of the Japanese songs, and many of the locals, they were singing along because these are very familiar to them, and some of them were even in tears. You know, yeah, because this is something very deep in them, part of their culture, their tradition. It's part of their identity. We actually did some origami with the Japanese people, and this is something very natural for them as well. It was such an easy way to break the ice with them, and they were so engaged in the activity. And because it was very near to Christmas time, we got them to fold stars, and through the stars we told the story of the birth of Jesus, you know, in a very non-offensive way, not intimidating at all. You know, it just came very naturally. So the arts can reopen the doors for the gospel very naturally.
I use drum as well and music. Now I'm trying to do both drama and music in the same thing, and to encourage all the artists in our church as well, I'm using dance as well. So dance, drama and music in just one thing. Just to tell a story, just to share the good news of Jesus Christ to all sorts of people, mainly non-Christians. I live in an area in France, in the Basque Country, where music is extremely important in the life of people. They have all these famous men's choir, and the people know, when you invite people for something like that, they know what you're talking about, because they are used to it. They're also used to dance as well, because the Basque dances are famous, you know, the fandango and all the dances that they have, and they're very present in festivals, even when they have the bull fightings, and you know, when they bring the bulls into the arena in Bayonne, they will have music as well. There's always actually a group, an orchestra playing while people are killing the bulls in the arena. So it shows that music is such an important part of their lives.
I do think that as a foreigner you have to be careful in some ways as well, because you can also miscommunicate, right? Because of cultural misunderstandings. And for example, with drama, I mean, how do you express emotions? You know, also the gestures you do, and of course the language. So for me, usually I say, if I'm abroad, not in my own culture, I'm not the one acting, but the locals act, because they of course know the language, but they also have the right way of movement, they have the right way of expression, and they also know the characters, they know the issues in their culture, what do you want to address, the taboo topics. And so I think as foreigners you always have to learn, of course, the culture, but also work together with locals in order to get the most of it, to really speak to the audience in a way that is not foreign to them. I worked in Mongolia, and Mongolia is a shame culture, right? So one of the problems that was there is how do you address sin? Because as soon as you do that, people get offended and they lose their faith and they leave the church. So we noticed that with drama, because it's about the people on the stage, right? They do the mistakes, or they, so you could address actually taboo topics and sinful behavior or ungodly issues and discuss about it without people leaving the church, because it was all about the people on the stage. And so that was very, very helpful and effective, because otherwise you get into that pattern that you are not preaching or talking about sin, because you will lose your people, right? And so I think the arts, because they are also work with mystery and hidden, you know, so you can also address topics which are very difficult to address verbally, because people immediately will think, oh, you talk about me, and it's and so to use the arts in cultures that are not as direct as many human European cultures, you know. So, and that was something I thought was very powerful to really, you know.
Yeah.
But also always to have it checked by locals, always.
Yes.
Because with this Turkish example, when we did with living statues in Turkey, and when we had this one man doing the statue bowing very lowly, and it was all fine, and then when the lady was doing it, it was suddenly not
Fine.
fine and acceptable at all, because a lady would not bow down that deeply and show her backside. And so to have locals who have sensitivity and also see what might be appropriate and what not. So I think if you have a production, if you have a picture, if you have a whatever, to first show it to the locals and the audience you want to show it with, and ask them, what do you see, what do you feel, and if it's really not appropriate. Then as nice as the art might be, it's not the right place or the right time.
And I think when we make the effort to understand the local cultures and art forms, the people also see, the local people see that we really respect their culture. And I think it's also an expression of God's love for the people as well, that we instead of putting down their cultures, but we really respect it, we appreciate it, and we take the time and the effort to learn about it, you know, as a way of just showing that we embrace them as well.